The lighting here is
Yeah, I got to turn on some more light. Is that better?
No, not really.
Let's turn on more light.
Okay.
More light.
That's
a
little better.
That's
yeah.
better.
Sorry, we're not totally prepared, y'all. We came in from church and had hungry kids that we had to tend to, so we've kind of had stuff lying around everywhere.
So we have light and we're back on. I'm trying to get our stuff set up so that way we can see. We were so unprepared for this live. Guys, hello. It's been a long time since we've done a live.
It has been a little while.
It was before Oklahoma.
I don't know.
It's been a while. Welcome to the live. Hey, Gossmania, thank you for being on and having a wrench because we were worried about that because it's been so long since we've had a steady live. So thank you so much for being on. Let me know where you're from. If you are new on the live tonight, I see a lot of people saying, let's see, Colorado, Connecticut, Idaho, let's see, Louisiana. So you're not far from us.
Virginia.
There's Candy. She's on. Pennsylvania.
That's why we were in a hurry. We were on a time crunch tonight.
So we don't usually sit in front of our cannon, but that's part of the giveaway tonight. So
not the cannon stuff.
Not the cannon stuff, but we are giving something away that deals with the cannon. So you got to answer a question in just a little bit. So we have grown a little bit. So we are celebrating 100,000 subscribers. Woo! So we are ecstatic. So thank you so much for watching our lives and watching, of course, us and our life that we journey with. So we will be doing an update video on some of the remodel. I know we've got away from some of the vlogs, but we're going to jump back into some vlogs, and you'll see Miss Mac and the kids a little bit more in the next few weeks and months ahead.
Yep. Yeah, so it's been just kind of crazy because as the world is slowly changing, we've kind of felt the need to share with y'all the things that have been on our hearts. So yeah, that's why y'all have seen a little bit of change. And obviously we can tell that it's a lot of things that have been on y'all's heart as well, because of the feedback that we're getting, not only from the comments and emails, we have private messages. It's just really, really blown us away. So we just kind of felt the need to start sharing a little bit from our hearts, a little bit more closer to home for us. And obviously that has translated into something that was way bigger than us. I would just say way bigger than us. We've been very humble.
Big Dave is on, so that's all that matters.
You've been with us a long time.
I know. And Miss Rebecca, I saw her on here too as well.
Yeah, I did see her name go across the
Thank you so much. We were kind of worried since we hadn't done a live, like who was going to actually show up to our live. So I'm glad to see 275 folks. Give us a thumbs up too. We would like that a lot. So tell us what you're doing. What are we working on right now? Are we working on gardens? Are we working on preps? What are we doing?
So I had someone over today, and
Big Dave got a dehydrator.
Ooh, good job. And we were discussing, she was like, I can't even get in my garden. And it's so weird because a part of the country, it's so extremely dry, but it has rained literally every single day. Yesterday, it rained all day, and it rained on and off today too. But that has been like an everyday thing for a little over a week now.
Yeah, over a week.
I mean, just like daily. We've had daily rains, not complaining whatsoever. But it does that's what her comment was. She said, well, it's kind of made gardening a little bit more difficult because I can't get in the garden. It's so wet. So
we've been worried about too much rain in our garden. So like our pumpkin area, we actually have mushrooms growing in our gardens with our pumpkins, which typically means it's got a lot of moisture. So we're going to see how that goes. But we've had tons of rain. Our grass is looking phenomenal. So I'm so sorry for all you guys who are struggling with rain lately.
Yeah, it is most definitely kicking things off into high gear as far as growing goes.
So there's a bunch of people saying they're working on their preps. The garden is struggling a little bit. Shelling green beans, canning chicken. Woo woo. Hey, check out Misty's canning chicken video. It's pretty awesome. Someone said you were very country on that today.
I am very country.
But it was funny because he was like, I have family in Alabama, and she's more country than them.
Hey, I can't disagree.
Hey, William, how are you,
I
man?
get people talk about my Southern accent all the time, and I'm fine with that. I know that I have a very Southern accent.
We've got a lot of people from Mississippi on, so thank y'all for coming on this evening.
Well, see, they probably don't think I'm Southern. They probably talk like me.
Evan says, we've been seeing you. Hey, we are glad to be back. We're going to try to do a few more lives. Our crazy schedule, but we're going to try our hardest to make it a little bit better.
Yeah, we're getting kicked back in with school in the next 2 weeks. We're going to be kicking off school, which is going to put us a little bit more in a routine. Summers just are kind of all over the place. We have no schedule, no bedtimes.
Val says your accent is adorable.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, our okra has blown up right now because the wetness and also the heat. So we're pulling okra and cucumbers daily. So we're canning a lot of okra too. I saw a comment there saying that they were doing that.
I'm actually freeze drying a lot right now too, because I do have a lot canned. I think the majority of it is at the very top.
Let's see. There it is.
There. I try to utilize all my space. So the majority of it is at the very top. But I actually like to use that in soups and stews that are already done. But there's only so much I can have canned. So I haven't been using the freeze dryer, which I really like the consistency of it. So I'm ready to use it to see how I'm going to like it.
Someone asked, do we homeschool? We do homeschool. So we have 6 kids, and 5 of those are pretty much in homeschool. 4 is really in homeschool. And then we have a 5th one who's he's
preschool.
Getting there.
So he doesn't get the hours that the others get. He gets, if I can keep him still for 15 or 20 minutes and we can work on our numbers and our letters, and he knows his colors and shapes and all of that. If we can get letters and sounds, and he knows 1 through 10, but we have more numbers to learn. He's about to be 4. So we're going to be kicking off pre-K with him. He'll get a shorter session. I've got to be able to keep him still. And the other ones, yes, we will kick off full gear homeschool in the next 2 weeks.
It's good to see some people jumping in and actually canning chicken. That's been a big comment there. So that's really cool. We have a Harvest Right freeze dryer for someone who asked. I think that was someone up top. I missed it a while ago.
Started bulk buying. Awesome.
Absolutely. Good job.
Brandon, Mississippi. Wow, we have a lot of Mississippians. Y'all
really
are
cool.
like ruling tonight.
Do you use flashcards in your homeschooling?
Yes, from time to time I do. Different children have different needs. Some pick up very quickly on new skills, new concepts. Job, some do not. So I have definitely utilized flashcards with some of those that do not.
Hey, Ed's watching us. It's sweet and they got to come down and see us, so we got to go out and eat with them. So that was really cool.
All the way from Arizona.
Really cool. So good to see y'all on tonight. Hello from California. Thank y'all so much. Hey, shoot us some more questions on the live. We're trying to answer those for us. So shoot us some more questions.
Yes, and if you have questions, please make sure you put them in all caps.
Yeah,
because we're trying to read the chat while we're talking, which can be a little bit of a trouble for myself because I'm not a multitasker. You can ask
Crystal Springs.
He loves to make fun of me. So yeah, Mississippi is showing up and showing out.
Absolutely. We used to not have like anybody from Mississippi watching. So
really.
Thank y'all so much. All right, so shoot us some questions on the chat. We'll try to answer them as much as we can. Can you use oven fryer for dehydration? You can. We've never done that.
I don't even have an oven fryer.
Be careful with any kind of anything that's plugged in that's using some kind of radiation heat, not just regular air. So if you're using like an air fryer, a lot of people say they love air fryers. Be careful with those just because they are almost like a microwave.
We did read that there were some recalls.
A lot of recalls on those, yeah.
So yes, I would absolutely.
More on drying and using elderberries, absolutely. We have a video coming up on some herbs, some medicinal herbs. So look forward to that for sure.
All right, advice for seniors who have never gardened. Just get in there and do it.
Grow where you're at, no matter what you do, grow.
I have shared a lot with some people that have contacted us about disabilities. I really recommend grow bags, grow containers, 5-gallon buckets. You can grow abundantly in those things, and it requires such little maintenance. There's no weeds. There's not a lot of bending over. Basically, once you already have your container, it's fill it up. Keep the soil fed, plant whatever you're going to plant. There is not a lot of maintenance to that, but you're still able to grow abundantly really in large containers, small containers, whatever you've got, that's a great way to start.
All right, so we don't recommend a certain dehydrator. The one that we use is the bomb, though. It's actually called the Excalibur. We use a 9-tray Excalibur.
My first one was a $1 garage sale freeze dryer that I found and used it for years.
Sure did.
And I really just did not have enough space, which is really the only reason we upgraded, because I'm so frugal and Colby is too. We love secondhand shopping and thrift store shopping, garage sale shopping. Those are good things to utilize.
Great question, Amy. Which is better when you have a lower income, Mylar bags, or buying all the canning supply? So it depends on what you're putting up. So what is your goal? Is your goal to stockpile food? I would say go with Mylar bags. So if you're doing things like rice, beans, dried fruits, flour, sugars, I'd go Mylar bags and food grade buckets. If you're looking to harvest from your garden, canning's the way to go. It's a major purchase on the front end. I say major. I mean, a few $100 purchase on the front end, but it will be well worth it and will be a great investment for you. So that's a great question. Depends on what you're wanting to do. Are you wanting to grow a garden, have vegetables? Canning. If you're wanting to stockpile and prep, Mylar bags and food grade buckets are the way to go. Great question. What do you use pig lard for? I'll let you answer that.
Brian. Really, the leaf lard is the best if you're wanting to do like pastry type things, because it's a very clean taste. You don't get the pigness from it. If you're going to throw some squash over in there, chicken strips, whatever you're going to do, I use just the mixed lard. When I'm rendering it all down, I just use that to fry in. But if you're looking for lard to do something like pastries, things like that, you really want the leaf lard because it's a cleaner taste. We had somebody here that used lard making icing one time, and I was like, that is a negative. Do not do that again.
Pork flavored icing.
You leave the kitchen and bake
it was like a cupcake with bacon. It was actually not that bad. It was like a bacon tasting cupcake. That's two good things together. All right, so we had another question that I saw I wanted to answer.
There's a lot, Colin. We can't keep up with them.
I have a small fenced-in backyard. How much room do I have for chickens? If you've seen our chicken tractors or seen the way we rotate our birds, if you're using a net is 164 linear foot. You can use a net. If you're using like our chicken tractors, like a mobile chicken range coop that we have, those are small and you can rotate that around. You do not need a lot of space. You want that ground to rest that you're moving each and every day. If you can let that rest for 3 to 5 weeks on every rotation. So if you have that little coop, it's rotating on your grounds daily. Again,
we are not affiliated with this company at all, but Chicken Coop Range, and then the name of it?
It's chickenrangecoop.com. We're not affiliated with them, but a great product.
Yes, we have two, and we really, really like them.
But the smaller one is what, a 6x8? It's tiny. It's not big.
But there have been times where we have had pigs separated from their moms piglets separated from their moms for whatever reason. We've also been able to utilize those for the baby piglets as well. Like one time we had one that got stepped on, and we had to pull her. Actually, we have two that have gotten stepped on by the bigger ones and caused major injuries, and I had to nurse them back to health. And I kept them in those once while I was nursing and while they were healing, and got them big enough before we're ready to put them back in the pig forest. So they're not only used for chickens, we have used them for other things as well, and they're very sturdy. I can't speak highly enough of them. I really like them.
So great question. Any suggestions for water glassing bought eggs from a farmer? Make sure your eggs that you're buying from the farmer
are not washed.
They're not washed, and they still have their bloom on them. Misty has been doing water glassing. We are going to do a video of our pantry very soon and do a pantry tour. We've probably put up 500 to 700 eggs, probably more than that. I don't know. That's a lot of eggs in there.
It's a lot of eggs.
So we buy lime. You can buy it from Azure Standard. You can buy the bigger bags from Azure Standard, or you can buy the little Mrs. Wage's pickling lime. It's hard to find right now because everybody is doing.
It took me 4 months. I put the lime in my cart for 4 months before I actually got my order.
Absolutely.
But I was able to get 50 pounds of it. So I actually downsized that today to 5-gallon buckets. Plus I had some left over. So I literally will not have to buy lime for a really, really long time. But the really super cool thing, so if you don't know what water glassing eggs is, basically the gist of it is when I go out to the coop and I get the clean eggs, I do not wash them. I put them upside down in a jar until I get my jar full. Then I mix 1 ounce of pickling lime to 1 quart of water, fill up my jar, and I will label it with a date and put it in my pantry. When winter comes and my girls are not laying, I can go in there, get a jar out, get as many eggs out as I need to use during that time, leave the other eggs in. I'll rinse the lime off of the eggs and use them just like I would if they were fresh. The only difference is when you crack the egg open, it is a little bit thicker than a fresh egg that has not been put in pickling lime. It is a little bit thicker. The taste is the same. I had some that were several months old, and the taste is the same. They scrambled great, but it is a little bit thicker.
All right. So what would be the best way to utilize my choke cherries? I don't know. Somebody asked about choke cherries the other day. Are you talking about ground cherries? Is that what you're talking about? I meant to ask that the other day.
I've ever heard of those ground cherries.
All right. So let's see. There was one other question up here. What do you do with the chicken?
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thanks, Sean, very much. We're glad to be live again. What do you do with chickens being bullied? Okay, Mama Z's, if you have a broody mama that's being broody, you need to separate her for a little bit, and she'll be fine.
Broody?
Bully, but I'm saying if it's a female, if it's a hen that's being broody, you can easily break that, separate her from the flock just for a little bit. She's not going to.
What was the question?
A bullied chicken. So a bullied chicken. You have a rooster or a hen.
It doesn't have anything to do with being broody.
Yeah, I know, but if a broody chicken is bullying other chickens and trying to sit in the area where they want to lay eggs, that's a hen that's
probably
bullied.
Just means
if it's a rooster that's bullying chickens, you need to get rid of the rooster and get it out of there. That's the two things I would say.
But if they're not being bullied by a broody chicken and they're just being bullied, you really have to be careful when you integrate them together. It needs to be at night. It needs to be done at night.
That's what happens when you have 6 kids, y'all. Thank you for being on here, Mr. William. Please advise what foods to dehydrate versus freeze dry. There's not a wrong answer there. We just dehydrated chicken and dumplings, freeze dried chicken and dumplings. So I would not put chicken and dumplings in the dehydrator. Our herbs and smaller fruits, anything we're making with tinctures, we tend to go towards the dehydrator. If we're doing onions, we may do white onions in the dehydrator and the freeze dryer. But if we're doing combination meals, meats, we tend to lean towards the freeze dryer versus the dehydrator. You can keep going with your chicken story.
I was just going to say one of the ways to prevent is make sure you integrate them at night.
Yeah.
Sometimes I found that if I try to put my pullets in with my hens that are a little bit older,
they're going to bully them.
They will bully them. They have to establish a pecking order. It's just the way it is. If they continue to do that and cause a wound on your chicken, then the whole flock is going to pick at it and it's not going to end up being good. You will have to take that chicken out then and then nurse it back to health. Sometimes they will just pick the weakest link and just bully, and that's just what they do.
That's a good statement.
I don't know how to tell you how to break that. I will just say try to prevent it by integrating them at night. Make sure your pullets are about the same size as your chicken when you try to put them together, because if they're not and your hens are a whole lot bigger than your pullets, they are going to establish pecking order, and sometimes they do hurt them. And like I said, once they do get one hurt, they just pick on the hurt one, and they just do. They're vicious, even though they don't look vicious.
And Gossmania said something about chickens. The thing about chickens, if you have a rooster's not bad, especially if you're trying to have fertilized eggs to incubate. Mm-hmm. However, you don't need a rooster. Or if you have a rooster, though, to me, our chickens do better, but they tend to be less feathered. They tend to be a uglier chicken because the rooster is going to be a little bit more aggressive than what the hens are. But
I will say, in defense of the roosters, if you do have a rooster, there are a lot of rooster breeds, especially that will protect their hens. And if anything tries to come in after their hens, they're the first ones that go after whatever predator has come in. So keep that in mind. If you have a rooster and you know that something may be trying to come around your chickens, it might be a good thing that the rooster is in there, because sometimes he will protect your hens. But sometimes
Miss
they
Kathy,
don't.
how are
Sometimes
you?
they run. So you just have to kind of know your chickens and how they are.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, if you've got a chicken that's causing an issue, you need to dispatch that chicken. I'm just being honest. I mean, you don't need one chicken being crazy or one rooster. Like, we have what we call the bachelor pad. I know y'all have seen that in some older videos. And it's just a rooster hutch that we rotate again around the farm. That's our fertilizers for our grass behind our cattle. So those roosters tend to be a little bit more aggressive. However, they're contained. They're not bothering me.
They are mean.
But it's because they're just a bunch of bachelors in the pad fighting all the time.
They
so
are
they're just
mean.
crazy.
They're the same breed as my rooster. I have two roosters that are in with all of my hens, and they are like they are like daylight and dark.
Yeah.
But the males that are in there together, the roosters that are in there together, they are constantly having to fight each other. So that's just all they know. But I can't put all of those roosters in with my hens, or it would be like World War III on my hens, and they would get beat down entirely too much.
That's right, Angela.
So we have to keep them out, and we just keep them together because we don't have enough space to put them in each individual little hutch. Or if we just let them free range, they would get killed on our property. So it's the best option for them, even though they are rough with each other and they fight with each other. It's still really the safest thing for them.
Hey, and what's cooler is, like, yesterday, we were able to incubate some chickens and give them to a family member. So it's really cool to see other people wanting a lifestyle that says, you know what, I can provide my own food. Have you looked at Walmart, how much eggs cost? It's crazy. So chickens are good because they can free range. They can eat off your farm or eat off your gardens or off your back lawn.
Even scraps.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's good to see more Mississippi folks on here. Hey, keep throwing the questions at me. We probably missed some, so please throw them back out there. All right, we'd love to know plans for your shelving behind you. We did talk about that in a video. I have to go back and try to find that video. We did talk about sizes. We talked about, I think there's 16 inch shelves. We made it 3 quarts deep because Missy does everything in quarts. But I'll go back to that video and see if we can reshare that to the community post after this live is done. Yep. Great question.
Yep. It was on one of our blogs, but it's been a year, 2 ago.
All right.
We did that.
Yeah, it's probably been a year and a half or so. Isabel, do you remove the spurs on roosters? Okay, so here's our thoughts on animals when it comes to animals. We want them as natural and as non-invasive for us as humans as possible. So we don't dock our sheep's tail. We don't cut spurs off roosters. We try not to do anything to change their normal habits other than if we are castrating a pig because we're going to be having it for food, such as a boar, or if we are making a steer off instead of a bull. So other than that, we try not to do anything to an animal that we don't have to, other than trying to save its life for some reason like that. So nothing like that we try not to do.
I saw a question about eggs a while ago. It was all in caps.
All right, let's see.
About the chickens eating the eggs, but I didn't read it all because you were talking.
Are you saying I talk too much?
No, I just can't listen to you and read at the same time.
Did you hear what she said? She said I talk too much. I'll see if I can find the question. All right, let's see. Should we diversify our stockpile, canning, freezing, store-bought items, etc.? Yes. Here's what I would say. Can, freeze dry, dehydrate, stockpile, all of it's great. Every one of them has a benefit and asset. If something goes bad or something goes wrong, you lose the grid, you may lose the freezer, but you can have enough time to get it canned or have one big barbecue. I'd even say cure and ferment. Add those things to your repertoire. Understanding preserving food is key.
Okay, and I read the green bean comment about canned for the first time and lost too much liquid and your jars ended up not sealing. My guess would be that you overfilled it with water, because when you get too much liquid in and you put it in that heat under pressure, it begins to boil within the jar. And if you have too much liquid with not enough headspace and that water begins to boil, it will go above the headspace and out from under the lid. That has happened to me before, and my jar still did seal. if you get any food particles or any issues under that, it will not seal. But the main problem I would be willing to put my money on is you did not leave quite enough headspace. The water filled that headspace and had nowhere else to go but to push under that lid and come out. And that might have been your call. So next time I would just say, be very careful not to overpack your jars and to not overfill them with liquid. And we still didn't find the egg question.
I think somebody was answering it though. That's good.
Okay. Good job.
Let's see. There was one other question I was reading, but you were talking.
He must want to get on punishment.
Oh, best homemade solution to help you sleep. We have some good herbs coming out in an herb video that we're going to be talking about. So I'm not going to give you any hints yet.
I can tell them two off the top of my head to help you sleep.
Okay, tell them.
Lavender and catnip are the two right off the top of my head that I would suggest. Lavender essential oil is amazing, and catnip tea. If you can find
you can grow both of those. You don't have to buy them in essential oils. You can actually grow catnip and lavender pretty easy.
Yeah. So those would be the two I would tell you initially to look into, learn how to use those.
I hope you enjoyed our video. I hope it doesn't give you anxiety. We try to always end our videos in hope. So thank you so much.
Chamomile is another good one. Yes.
Dixieland said
there's a lot. The amazing thing about an herb is one herb can be used for so many different reasons, and so many different herbs can be used. I mean, it's just amazing, y'all. God gave us a great thing.
Dixieland said, Colby, Misty, have you ever tried coffee jelly? If not, please do. It's awesome. I love coffee, so anything that's coffee would probably be good for me.
I despise coffee.
Let's see. Can y'all do a how-to video on tincture? Stacy, we are actually we're on a process of working that out. We're going to show you.
We have so much we want to show y'all, but we don't want to overload you guys with too much.
We're going to show you the steps. So we're going to show you Misty's harvesting. Then we're going to show the dehydration of them. Then we're going to show this next step of actually starting the tincture, and then also the last step of the tincture itself. So
I have some wild lettuce tincture right now, and I'm pretty excited about that. I also have calendula oil infusing in the greenhouse. So I'm pretty excited about that too.
What's up, Trey? How are you, man? You know, coffee doesn't give me anxiety at all. I could drink a cup of coffee and fall right asleep. It really does nothing for me other than I just enjoy it. Lemon balm is a good one. Absolutely.
There's a lot. There's
Q of the South.
So we used
to do a weekly live stream. We have been terrible at trying to keep that, especially during the summer, because our summer schedule is crazy.
We don't have really a summer schedule.
We were just moving sheep literally in just a few moments ago.
And it's like the older Livy gets, it really puts into perspective now. Like I really do feel like I have 6 kids, even though I've had 6 kids for a year and a half.
We've had 6 kids.
I know, but what I'm saying is she is like into everything. So I'm managing the older ones, and the littles are into everything as well. So it's like, you know, sometimes I just feel like I'm in a circle. So when she was a baby and I could put her in her chair or her swing and she slept half the day, it wasn't really like I had her because she kind of tended to herself. But now she's into everything, and it's like,
When does homeschooling start for us?
We are going to start the 15th.
15th. Where can I buy wild lettuce seeds? We bought ours I
bought them from Amazon. I actually bought 2 different varieties. I have a friend that came over, the same one I mentioned earlier. We have really had this really cool relationship. We like so many of the
We're all weird.
Things.
We're weird.
But so she had wild lettuce growing in her yard. And she has let them go to seed for the past few years. So she's like, I have them everywhere. And I was like, can I please have one? So she brought me one, and I was able to save the seeds, and I used the stems and the leaves to make the tincture with.
It's awesome.
And yes, it is for pain, and that's why I wanted it, because I'm having a shoulder issue. And for about a week, I could not lift this arm over my head. And I'm on some herbal supplements now, and it has helped tremendously. But I was looking for something to help me with that.
Lisa, how old are your pullets? So they need to be 6 to 8 months typically. But if you are dealing with a lot of rain or drought or a lot of a different climate change in your area, that can cause a chicken to be a little bit later than that. So tell us how old your pullets are. You need to be 6 to 8 months and a good condition for them to be laying. Also, make sure they're getting a protein, a good quality protein.
And sometimes the breed will make the
That's
difference because my Easter eggers and olive eggers are like when they're 6 months, they start laying, but the barred rocks usually take a little bit longer. They're usually not till like a month or so later that they don't start laying.
Susan, we have Easter eggers, olive eggers, Orpingtons, black Jersey Giants, barred rocks. I think that's about it. Yeah, and so we incubate most of ours, so a lot of those are just kind of crossed. They tend to be great egg layers. We went to a different feed, so that's why we're water glassing more, because the feed that we're going to, because it's a lower protein, but it's a more quality feed.
But I have been very diligently giving them snacks and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. But they tend to get a little lower egg production, of course, in winter. They used to not when we kept a higher protein grain, but we went to a lower protein grain.
And we kept we've had a light on them always. Yeah, and we've kept a light on them, but it did make a huge difference when we made that feed swap. So that's one of the main reasons I was water glassing eggs, because for the past 2 winters I've had to buy eggs. I have not liked that. And last year I did most bartering with someone that her chickens were still laying pretty heavy, but I was like, that kind of defeats the purpose because we're not feeding our chickens that for a reason. So this year I made a major goal to learn how to preserve eggs. Not only are we water glassing, but I'm also freeze drying them as well. And I will be able to use those when I do probably more baking, but when I want like omelets or scrambled eggs, I'll use the ones out of my jars.
Okay, so Philip asked, do you raise turkeys? If you go back to like old school Mac, vintage Macs, old school Mac videos, you'll see that we raised about 20 turkeys or so. We did around Thanksgiving, actually. We're able to process those. We processed ours, and then we processed some for some people in the community.
We did about half, but we didn't do all of them. We only did about half of them.
Now, the thing about turkeys tend to not lay as much. They only lay in the breeding season. And also, you got to want to raise turkeys because they're not really cost effective unless you're raising a broad breast. If you're raising more like Royal Palms, your kind of heritage breeds that are gorgeous, they're just for fun. We like to see them roaming the grounds more than having them there for consumption, basically. Love turkeys. Just really didn't fit in the plan unless you're just wanting to kind of spend a little extra money on feeding them because they like a heavier protein feed too.
So somebody said best natural anti-inflammatory. There are a lot. I would tell you to look and see what best suits you and several of your needs because there are a lot. I'm on a blend right now that's for bone and tissue health, and the majority of the herbs in there are anti-inflammatory. So there are a lot. Actually, there's a lot of anti-inflammatory.
But we're going to be talking about that in a video coming up soon.
Yeah.
Let's see. Have you also dehydrated eggs? We actually use our freeze dryer for eggs. So we make powdered eggs and powdered milk with our freeze dryer. You can dehydrate eggs. It's a different process. We do ours raw. I have seen a lot of people actually scramble and then dehydrate. It is a very unique consistency.
Yeah. So turmeric, garlic, and ginger are some of the things that are in that supplement. So yes, there are a lot.
Cosmania, I'm good with that. What foraging book do you recommend? I mean, you could easily recommend that one.
Do you have it? I do. It's right here. I'll grab it.
Best foraging book. And again, we're not affiliated, but it is a phenomenal book. You can find it on our Amazon store. I wish this lady would adopt us for a week so we can learn it. You have the bigger versions of the other foraging book up there, I think, don't you?
It's over here. I was using it.
Oh, yeah. You had it over there. Hey, thank you, Isabel. Yes, please hit the thumbs up. We would like that very much so. Cowbell, that's a great point of dehydrating raw eggs too.
This is the one that I have that I really like. The Forager's Guide to Wild Foods. And it is by Nicole, and I can't say her last name.
Papillion.
The North American edition is the one I have.
Misty has several books by her.
I do. And I can't find my other one.
I know. You had it somewhere. It's the smaller one. It's the one that's more known.
The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies is the name of that
Great book. We would recommend that tremendously. It's got great information in it.
It really does.
All right, let's see. I might miss some. Do you use Gather Around Homestead Homeschool? We did last year, but tell what you're using this year.
Yes, so I am using them this year for part of my curriculum. I know she says that she has enough in there, but I really feel like, I guess because we have been hooked on Abeka for so long, and they're so heavy in their English and math, that I felt like we swapped math programs. Long story short, we swapped math programs. We're doing Saxon this year. Last year we used Bob Jones. I didn't love Bob Jones. That's when we swapped this year. I did like Gather Round, so we are still using that. It's going to be more geared towards science and history. And we did get Abeka language and spelling books this year, even though I'm really not
yes, Kimmy,
excited with their company customer service. I don't like it at all. They have terrible customer service. However, I will say that their books, qualities, and material is by far just, they have great material. So I did go back to Abeka language and spelling this year, and we have all the Abeka readers. So from previous years, so all of my kids will use Abeka readers.
Marilyn, we use. Do you recommend omega-3 for chicken feed? We use a straight feed from Tucker Millen. Again,
Non-GMO.
Very pleased with them. We're using their Nature Crest non-GMO. It is a.
You can smell the marigold.
Oh yeah, it's a marigold based. It's very, very good for chickens, and we don't give any extra supplements other than what we're feeding off the gardens to keep them foraging, to keep them having
extra
something
lettuce.
Else. That's right.
Cucumbers, watermelon.
But to supplement something else,
extra.
We don't do unless we just want to feed them some vegetable garden
like
stuff.
Our pigs get most of our scraps.
Right.
But the other day I had some cucumbers, and I was like, these, I can feel that they're not ruined yet, but they're on the verge of going bad.
Right.
And my garden is like overflowing with cucumbers. Like I have 12 quarts of pickles on the shelf on the other side of the counter. So with all that being said, they got those cucumbers. We give them scraps and stuff like that, especially when we're growing lettuce during the season.
Yeah.
Any extra lettuce that we have, when I know we're not going to need lettuce for us for not eating it that night, and have plenty of it. The chickens get some, the rabbits get some, and then we eat around it when we
Hey, 4 Jars Canning USA says, thank you for sharing your knowledge. We've used some of your lids, so
yes, we have.
Thank you for your lids. Cowbell Farm, do you have a rainwater harvesting system? So we bought these big totes for it, but in our area, we do catch in just 5-gallon buckets, and also we keep our rain manure buckets out. I mean, our rabbit manure buckets out there to make tea. Not to drink, but to use. It stinks. We would never drink it. Don't drink that. Tea is a bad name for that, by the way. Anyways,
tea is a bad name.
So those things are used. However, because we're in a very wet climate and very humid climate, not saying we don't have dry time, rainwater catchment is not as big here and not as much of a necessity because of our lakes and because of our creek, and also because we have a lot of rain here. We're very low. Not that we don't catch water, but it's just not as important as it would be somewhere in the Midwest or West areas. Great question, though. Let's see.
I saw a question a while ago, a little bit further down. I can't remember what it was.
Philip Vaughn.
Trying to listen to you.
Philip Vaughn. See, you're messing me up. I can't even get the guy's name right. Hey, yeah, check into water glassing. It's really awesome.
If you have access to farm fresh eggs that have not been washed, it will be a game changer for you. Water glassing, it's a great.
Bruce, we do have finicky eaters. We just learned.
Oh, that's what I seen.
Yeah, we just learned to ignore them.
I was going to tell them my story about this morning. So I was getting dressed this morning, and my goal was to fix red beans and rice for supper tonight. And I was going to eat our leftovers from last night for lunch. Well, it didn't play out that way because my kids were able to spend cousin time with their cousins before their cousins go back to school. So we didn't have lunch that way. So we ate leftovers for supper. But when I was telling one of my older girls this morning about red beans and rice, she doesn't like the red beans in red beans and rice. And I threatened her, and I pulled up an article that I had seen published from CNN just a few days ago. And it was cockroach
milk
protein milkshake.
Yum.
And she did not believe me. She was like, "You're lying. I don't believe that. Who would do that?"
I like your accent.
And I was
like how
like,
you're playing that.
Sister, come here. I want you to see this. Look at this. I want you to read this. And I was like, you better not complain one more time about having to eat red beans, or this is what you're going to get.
Cockroaches
a cockroach
and rice.
milkshake.
Do you predict that there will be
I
a beef and chicken shortage in the coming months? Here's what I think. America may not see the food shortages that most places will see. America will see higher prices and not as much of a selection for a lot of the food that we're seeing. Yes, there'll be more shortages, but remember, when it's in a short demand, there's more money out there because inflation. You're going to be paying more for that. We raise, of course, our own meat, but we went to the store the other day and someone was selling. They were on sale for like $20 for a ribeye per pound. That was mind-blowing for me because when we raise our cows, we're usually at $1.50 to $2 per pound for a ribeye. So I believe you're going to see it. You're already seeing it with eggs. You are seeing it with chickens in our local grocers, the cost going up.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yep.
Do you freeze your eggs besides freeze drying? I don't. I would have dabbled with that had we not gotten a freeze dryer for Christmas. That was kind of like our Christmas to ourselves, was a freeze dryer.
Way to embrace it, Angel.
But I would have definitely dabbled with that idea of freezing eggs. I know that some people do and they like it. Some people have done it and they don't like it. So I would definitely, if that's something you think that you're interested in, definitely try it. Just do like 3 or 4 and just try it and see what you think.
Hey, you need to be fall gardening, winter gardening. Stacey just brought up a good point. When you start your English peas, now we grow English peas a little bit later than most, so we will start those because we're Zone 8B. We may not start those till when we start our second set of onions, which is typically January is when we plant for English peas and snow peas. Fall gardens will start in October planting. We will have some seeds starting in September, but October is really when we really kick off our fall season. And that's our favorite time to grow, for sure.
Well, it is his. I really like summer gardening.
Love fall gardening. You don't have to deal with heat.
You don't, but you get so much of a variety of food. Which I will say, this year, despite
We've had a good year.
Squash bugs, the grasshoppers, the beetles, despite all of that, we really have had a good harvest this year. Something that we cannot complain about. The only thing that we planted that we did not get a good harvest from was zucchini.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that didn't do well for us this year.
Fort Hendrick, we do ferment. Our kids don't like the taste of fermenting because of the vinegar based. The fermentation that we do is going to be our milk for yogurt and then also kombucha. That's probably
that's our favorite.
That's our two
kids
main
love
things.
Kombucha.
We don't do kimchi and sauerkrauts and things like that because our kids don't eat it. We've learned to
do what they like.
Yeah, eat
for the most part.
That's right, absolutely. So we do ferment. It's not as common in the South, but we do ferment more of our liquids, which are kombucha and milk. Great question.
All right, why don't we go ahead and
what zone are you in?
Zone 8B. Do our giveaway.
All right, so the giveaway is going to be.
I'm so excited about this.
So this is our giveaway. You talked about fall gardening and summer gardening, winter gardening. This is where it's at. So
this is ours, but we are going to buy y'all one.
Hence the fact that it's been open. So please don't judge us.
This is mine.
We'll have you a new one.
Y'all are going to get your own.
So this is the Survival Garden seeds. We are affiliated with Survival Gardens. They are a phenomenal company, but they do these kits.
Packets in here.
They have a garden, what they call a garden pack, which is 30 sets of seeds. They have a homesteader pack, which is 50 sets of seeds. And they have a survival.
Some amazing seeds in here.
And then they have a survival pack that's even bigger. That's got 100 packs of seeds. That averages out $1 a piece for a pack of seeds that are non-GMO.
No chemical spray.
Misty's going to show you some of these.
Winter squash, sweet corn, pole beans, bush beans, gourds, fennel, eggplant, cauliflower, cilantro, cucumbers, broccoli, carrots, cabbage.
There's some watermelon.
Beets, basil. There's multiple beets and basil, arugula.
But the whole point of this is you are getting seeds for spring, summer, fall, and even getting into some indoor gardens in winter. It has everything. Herbs, flowers, vegetables. Oh my, it's actually really cool. So we're going to be giving away this Homesteader pack. It's a $50 value from them. You need to check them out. If you don't win, you still need to check them out because they're pretty awesome. But
I was super excited about this.
These are going to be some great
Homesteaders
seeds.
pack.
Yeah, and I like it because, when you go to seed companies, they're usually $2 or $3 or $4 a pack, and that's not bad pricing. I challenge you to keep doing that and keep buying from those companies. But this one kind of says, okay, we're just going to give you an all-in-one stop shop, and you can buy the 30, 50, and 100. And again,
and going back to the container garden, say that you don't have a huge spot that you can till up and can plant a humongous garden like what we do for our family. That's okay, because a lot of these things, like for example, that cilantro can be planted in his hat. In his hat, you can plant cilantro in this and grow it.
Is that how it was? Is that how you found it?
I need to return it the way it was found.
You need to turn it like you found it.
So there is a lady that does not live very far from us. And what I think is super, super cool about her, she is, I would say, in her 60s. And she is raising her grandchildren. And they live on a very, very, very tight budget. And she raises a lot of their own food. And to see what she has planted in the things that she has planted would totally blow your mind. Hats and boots are just an example. If you go out by her shop, she's got old boots that her husband doesn't wear anymore, and they drill holes in the bottoms and fill them up with soil. And she has like herbs that just oregano that just flows out of the boots. She has hats that are just laid up there beside it, like her husband's old hats that are just all around the boots that she can plant flowers in for the pot to attract pollinators. It is just absolutely amazing that you can take little simple things and you can grow food that you can not only you can dehydrate, you can put in the freezer, you can eat fresh. There is just so much. You just have to think outside the box and use your imagination and just grow. Just do it.
So we're going to have an interrupting of this broadcast. 4 Jars Canning USA has now said we want to also add a $50 gift card and giveaway to their online store for whoever wins. So not only are you winning this Survival Garden Seeds Homesteader Pack, you are now doubling it from 4 Jars Canning USA.
Thank you, 4 Jars.
Thank you so much, 4 Jars. We'll reach out to you, or you can shoot us an email. We'll find out how to get that to the winner.
All right, so ask the question.
Boom, that's awesome. And it actually deals with that, 4 Jars. So thank you so much.
Yes,
so
a little bit does.
We've got the answer wrote up there on our board. So here's the question. This is how you enter. I saw a few people say, how do you enter? So how do you enter this? You got to be.
I'm going to get it.
Are you going to get it?
I will get it. I'm not going to
write it bigger so it doesn't look like we're like cheating or something. Okay. So the way you're going to win this is you're going to guess at something. So that way it's fair. So we thought about asking like a question about our old homesteading videos, but some of you are new. You may not remember that. And we didn't want to ask something about our new because some of the older ones were not watching some of the newer videos. So we said we're going to make it almost like a drawing. So here's the question. The reason we sat here, you see this awesome canning shelf behind us. This canning shelf is 5 shelves plus the top. So I'm going to pick you up and you're going to see all the way up. Okay, so that's all we're going to give you.
That's one of my canning racks.
That's one of about 5 or 6 different canning shelves. But this canning shelf has been featured in a lot of videos.
And we have spent time tonight counting all the jars on the rack.
So now the question is, for these 2 gifts from 4 Jars, who are amazing, and Survival Garden Seeds, how many cans do you think we can put on that shelf?
Whoever gets it or gets the closest, let's set a time. So let's
start
say
guessing right now.
8:52. Whoever gets the closest to the number I have wrote on the board will be our winner. You're going to be in charge of. Whoa!
Oh my gosh! Hey, and your chat's going to be different from ours. So as soon as I see it, I will.
Let's look.
I'm looking right here too.
Oh Lord! I saw one pretty close.
I saw a lot this close, but there's going to be somebody that hits this.
I can't slow this down though, so you're going to have to watch.
I'm watching. I hadn't seen it. I've seen one very, very close though. Holy moly, y'all are blowing me away.
Yeah, y'all are going so fast.
All right, there's somebody very close. All right, you got 10 seconds. Ooh, that one's really close. This right here. Oh, that's right. All right, 3, 2, 1. Answer's done. All right, so I didn't see the exact answer, but I saw one very, very close. And I can't get it's still going. So we're going to let y'all keep going. But that one right there is close, but I think this one was a little bit closer. Let me go back up to it. Give us a break. Pause.
All right, that one's the closest I've seen.
This one's the closest right here. Oh, no, that one's closer.
That one's the closest.
Yeah.
But I can't get back to the name. It won't. All right, I can't do it from touching it.
All right, so I think that's going to be the answer. I think you were right.
Now help me find her name.
Oh, my gosh. We're going to have to just say her name, and hopefully she'll. There it is. Right there. See her?
All right.
All right, let me make sure. All right, so numbers stopped. We do have a winner who was literally about 5.
She's the closest
she's the closest that we've seen.
All right, already she was 8 cans off.
You couldn't be over. Too.
Yeah,
that was another thing.
Not be over.
There was another one that's pretty
the
close.
Closest to.
Yeah, going up to. All right, so I think that's going to be the answer. I think that's going to be the winner. Closest to without going over is. You got her name?
Katie 27320. You were the closest that we seen without going over, and our answer was this is backwards, and I couldn't figure out how to write it backwards. But that's 298.
298.
It's not 600. It's 2. That's a 2. 298.
Yeah, because
so
that is
congratulations, Katie.
Hey, it's not mirrored. We're dumb.
Oh, okay. Well, it looks mirrored to us.
So there was a few 300s, 301s. You were close, but you were a little over. So we have to go. Katie, you won it. Reach out to us via email.
Send us an email.
And that's Katie27320.
Miss Kathy, if you're still on here, if you could please jot our email address. If not, I can add it on there real quick.
There are still numbers coming in. So, guys, if we missed y'all or y'all got closer because after we talked, I can't keep up with it anymore. So thank y'all so very much for being on here. We have 500 people. We would challenge you to give us a thumbs up because it would really mean a lot to us. You comment to them?
Yes.
We're trying to tag her in this video too, so that way we know how to get in touch with us. Michigan Mike, what's up, man? Missy's typing this. Okay, so here's what I want. We're going to end the video, and this is what I want you to see. I want you to tell us what you think. Do you like a live where we can do some live question and answer? And I don't know how often we can do it, but I want to hear from you, and you let us know. We're also going to be doing some cool things coming up, guys. So let us know what you think about our live. Secondly, again, 4 jars. We can't thank you enough for adding to our giveaway. That does mean a lot. If you can reach out to us so we can get that to Katie, we'd appreciate that. Now, we're going to be doing a newsletter sign up. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. We're working on that now. Our website is up, but we're going to be doing a newsletter because what we want to do is all these videos that we've done, we've had a lot of people say, hey, give us some list. Give us a printable PDF document where we can use this as a checklist of some of the things that we're needing to get or what we're growing for this season. We want to be able to share that with you. And so we're going to be doing a weekly newsletter. Sometimes it will be Misty writing an herb recipe that she's working on. It may be her kombucha that she's working on. It may be something that I'm growing. It may be an issue that we're dealing with the cow and we want to share it. So we want you to subscribe to that newsletter too. It will be a link in the next few weeks on our video.
We're still working on it. It's almost there.
And it's free. It's just a way that we can communicate with you other than just YouTube. So you will get that. It's very personal. It's going to be from our heart. It's going to have a nice letter from us. So please be looking for that. If you're interested in the newsletter, you'll see it. I'll talk about it in the video, and we'll be sharing that where all you got to do is just subscribe to it. It's no cost. Just give us our email, and then basically we email it back to you. So other than that, I think that's all that I can think of.
That's it.
Thank you so much for coming on this evening. We thank you again for all the people that answered the question. And Katie, thank you for jumping on and actually getting the answer right. 4 jars. Again, we can't thank you enough. And hey, we need to probably do some more lives. I was kind of worried that we were not going to have a lot of people on here tonight. So
I think they blew our socks off.
Y'all blew our socks off. So Salem, what do we always say when we're leaving a video?
Happy homesteading, y'all.
Happy homesteading, y'all.